we tend to not stick around the people who don't bring out the best in us. Seek those who do bring out the best of us. And what is that based on? It's based on a presumption of capability, capacity, ability, right? That whole conversation about presumed competence and presumed potential, but that's developmental. We started with that. You started that with each of your children from the time that they were in utero. Had the dream for the potential of what their life was going to be like and how their life was going to be. And then when they were each born individually, you presumed that potential. You fed into them. You had conversations with them. You played with them. You interacted with them. You took them inside and outside and took them around. Why? So that they would be exposed to and have interactions all over the place, right? That's about presuming that potential. It's about not determining someone's capabilities and capacities based on an artificial single point in time or short point in time measure. How do we do that? How do we presume that potential? What do we do with that? Symbol it, circle back around. Symbol it was designed so that we didn't have to predetermine what we thought their potential was, because I felt like in designing it, we already had decided what their potential was by what we were saying verbally. For most of us, not for everyone, but for most of us, we're having real conversations. When we put on the therapy hat, I think is when it goes awry. But the rest of the time, if you're just coming up to somebody in the grocery store, like, hey, little guy, what's going on today? See, you got a cool hat on. Look at that dinosaur on your shirt, right? That we've already decided our language to be able to match who they are, their age and stage of life, but presuming that potential. And so verbally, we are more likely to give more language. When do we shift off of that? When we feel like we always need to be therapeutic and we feel like we have to teach rather than immerse. We feel like we have to decide what they're ready to learn rather than immersing them in language so that they can show us what they're ready to learn and what comes next. And they can pull what they need from the big picture. But once we start to teach, very specific, we teach wrong. And I'll just declare that we teach wrong because we make a decision for what they need to say and how they need to say it. And we tell them what to say, or we tell them what symbols to touch. But if we just shift back to immersing, which is how first language and second language develop, then we would be having a conversation. We would be giving them more language. Hey, that's the coolest thing you're painting there. Oh my gosh, you've got red and green and blue. Hey, did you know that when you put red and green and blue lights together, it turns to a white light? That's just the coolest thing. I just learned that today. But, it's just like you have a conversation. And even if that conversation is as much with yourself, that conversation is immersing. That conversation is providing a model. And when it does that, what's it do for the social emotional?